Welcome back to the CAT Quant 1000 series. We're looking at profit and loss. We've done a few modules already, a lot of the CAT questions. Let's make a push on the ZAT questions right now. We've got some interesting set of ZAT questions. Once again with arithmetic. Solving, I think most of you should be able to do it. The approach or the structure we use, right? Whether you're able to do in a quicker way is what you'll have to examine. You can pause the video over here and try solving it and then look at the solution, right? Let's move on to the solution now. This is an interesting set of two questions, right, with a simple case over here which turned up. There was also a lot of scope for making silly mistakes, right? So let's look at it. Books and More sells books, music CDs and film DVDs. Okay, three items over here. In December 2009, they earned 40% profit in music CDs, 25% profit in books, okay? Music CDs contributed to something of something and all of that. So we have the cost price, we have the profit, we have the selling price, the total sales, and that's it. So in this kind of a scenario, what you can do is you can go for a tabular structure, right? Let's do it freehand over here. And I have a total of three items, right? There was a 40% profit on music CDs, and then some 25% profit on books and all of that. Let's write this books, music CDs and film DVDs in that order as it is given in the top, right? Books, music CDs and film DVDs, okay? Film DVD, okay? And the totals are always important, yeah? So cost price plus the profit is going to give you the selling price over here. Okay, so what do we know and where do we start? We know that the profit over here, 40% on music CDs, okay, 25% profit on books, fine. Film DVDs, no comment yet. Music CDs contributed 35% towards their total sales, right? So total sales, total selling price, of that 35% was music CDs. At the same time, total sales in rupees for books was 50% more than music CDs. So I don't want to put 135. We can assume some value here. I don't want to put 135 here because half more is going to result in a decimal. So I can assume a value. Let me assume that the total is 1000, right? Total is 1000. Then 35% of 1000, 350 rupees is the sales of music CDs in total. Now the total sales from books, total sales or selling price, right, is how much? It's 50% more than that of music CDs. 50% nothing but half. Half of 350 extra. Half of 350 is 175. You add the 175, you get 525. I'm not writing the steps down, right? You should ideally avoid, right? 50% more, this half more. Half of this is 175. Add that, you get 525. Now, in December 2009, we go backwards, right? They earned 40% profit in music CDs. They're speaking about music CDs first and then coming to books, right? Not sequentially. Remember that. Now, 40%, there's a tendency to immediately write 40% of 350 over here. That's incorrect because profit over here is always on the cost price, right? So 40% convert as a fraction. 40% nothing but 2/5, right? 2/5 over here, 40% is 2 by 5. Just refer to the fractions table, right? Which is there, your percentages table, second module under the percentages chapter of Mockat.com, right? So 2/5 is the profit, which means 2/5 of cost price. So all that it means over here is profit by CP is 2 by 5. So 5 rupees is my cost price, 2 rupees is my profit. So just write it down as 5x over here. If this is 5x, then 2/5 of this, 2x is my profit. Add it up and you get 7x over here. I'm going very slow, but remember that, if you understand these, you should be able to solve it very quickly. 7x is 350, then x is 50 rupees, right? If 7x is 350, ideally you shouldn't be writing these outside, then x is going to come to 50 over here. So x is 50, 5 times 50 is 250, and 2 times 50 over here is 100, and you've broken it down. Now over time, if you know these, you should be able to mentally do this part, right? You don't need to break this down. If you know this is 40%, 2/5, 5x, 2x, 7x. 7x is this, you should be able to get the rest. Let's try it out for the next one. 25% profit in books. 25% is nothing but 1/4. 1/4. 1/4 of cost price. So if this is 4x, 1/4 of it is x. X is profit. right? I mean, I should use a different variable. Let's call it 4y over here. Then y over here is going to be, we write it clearly, y over here is going to be the profit. 4y plus 5y, 4y plus y is coming to 5y. 5y is 525. Once again, 25% is 1/4. 1/4 is the profit in books. So this is 4y. My profit is 1/4 of that y. Selling price is sum of these two, which is 5y. 5y is 525. 1y is 105. Right? I'm not going to write it down. You can do it yourself. Subtract and you get a 420 over here. This is all that is known. Then I'm given two questions, 121 and 122. Right? Let's see as to how to do it. Now, if books and more have earned 20% profit overall, then in film DVDs, they made how much? So once again, this is 1/5 over here. If this is 5A, this is 1/5 of that A overall, total, right? Then total over here is 6A. If 6A is 1000, then A is 1/6 of this, which is 167, right? 1/6 of this is 166.67. Should know that. And the difference between these two is coming to 833. We are asked to find the profit, the film DVDs, what the profit or loss scenario is. 420 plus 250 is coming to 670. 670 you subtract over here, you're getting a 163. This is coming to a 205. 205 plus something is 167. 205 I have to subtract a 38 to get 167. So it's definitely a loss. How much of a loss is the question? The loss is 38 by 163. What do you think it is closest to? Is it 10%? Does 38 look like 10% of 163? No. Does it look like 16.3%? No. It's roughly, more close to 23.4%. You can directly mark it. The options are far apart. Now, why am I saying that? Reason is simple. This looks like 1:4 ratio, right? 40 by 160 is 1/4, which is 25%. Right? Now 38 by 163, numerator is reduced a bit, denominator is increased a bit, so it should be little less than 25%. If numerator reduces, the value should reduce. Denominator increases, value should reduce, but by small amounts. Right? Is it more than 20%? What is 20% of 163? 2 into 16.3, 32.6. That is 20% of 163. Right? If 20% of 163 is 32.6, my 38 is definitely more than that. You should understand it's 23.4%. Now the reason I'm saying this is because there are exams where you don't have a calculator. And even if you have the calculator and the options are far apart, look to do it quickly, right? Don't waste time with the calculator. Yeah. Let's move to the next question, right? Keeping the base information intact over here, right? So the next question over here was, if books and more made 50% loss in film DVDs, then overall they made what? Is the next question. So 525 plus 350 is 875, which means 125 should have been the sales or selling price of film DVDs. That is known. So therefore, what is going to be the CP and profit scenario over here? I'm told it's a loss, right? So half is the loss. So if this is 2x, then the profit or loss is minus x. Half of that is loss. What am I left with? X rupees. Right? Once again, I'm using the same variable. Right? So let me just use another one. Let's say 2b over here minus b, and you get a plus b. Right? Why is this happening? Half is the loss. Half of this I have to remove. I'm left with b. So if b is 125, this was minus 125. This would have been 250 rupees. Right? That's the only way it's possible. Now sum of all of this is going to give me 920 rupees. Now this is 205 minus 125. That's coming to an 80 rupees. Right? 920 plus 80 is 1000. Everything works out right now. Overall, what was the scenario? Was it a profit or a loss? It was definitely a profit. So all these are wrong. Right? And what was the profit? It was 80 by 920. Now 80 by 920, once again, you have to ask yourself, is it more than 10% or less than 10%? Only two options are there, 12.3% and 8.7%. What is separating them? 10%. What is 10% of 920? 92 by 920 is 10%. Now this 80 by 920 is definitely going to be less than 10%. Why? The numerator is less than 92. So obviously it's going to be 8.7%. You can mark it and go. Try it out in the calculator. You should be getting that as well, right? Once again, think about it logically. If my denominator is intact, what will give me 10%? What of the numerator will give me 10%? That's going to be 92. But if my profit is less than 92, then my profit percentage is less than 10%. Between the two options, I have to go for 8.7%. Right? It's as simple as that, and that's the quickest way of solving these questions. Now onto a ZAT 2012 question. This is one of the toughest years, right, when it came to quant, and a really long question. But typically these long questions mean that, they could also be easy, right? You don't need to be very scared. You don't need to run away. Yeah. Let's look at this. A property dealer bought a rectangular piece of land at rupees 1000 per square feet. The length of the plot is less than twice its breadth. Okay. Due to its size, there were no buyers for the full plot. Hence, he decided to sell it in smaller sized pieces as given below. The largest square from one end was sold at rupees 1200 per square feet. Now, how do I get the largest square from one end? So let me start with drawing a rectangle. All right. So let's draw something like this. And what is going to be the largest square from one end? Something like this, right? So something like this. So it's going to be along the breadth. So let this be the breadth, right? And let this entire thing be, let the entire stretch be A. So this is my square B and B, and I'm left with B minus A, right? Sorry, the other way around, right? Entire length is A minus B, this part which has been cut out. So this is my first larger square. This is going to be square 1. And then what's happening over here? From the remaining rectangle, the largest square was sold at 1150 per square feet. So remaining is a rectangle over here, and I'm again cutting another square, right? What's that going to be? The largest possible square is going to be like this, right? Because my breadth over here is, my length is actually less than twice of the breadth, right? Less than twice of the breadth. So the breadth is going to be longer than A minus B strip. So I'm cutting another square over here, right? So let's make that slightly larger, right, to make it realistic. Okay, that's done. So how much is going to be the side of this? It's going to be A minus B. Now what about this bottom rectangle over here? What is going to be this strip over here? It's going to be the entire B minus of A minus B. So B minus of A minus B is going to be 2B minus A, right? B minus of A minus B is going to be, B minus of minus B is 2B, and then you get a minus A, and that's what I made note of here. And this bottom part is nothing but A minus B. So what am I told right now? Due to crash in the property prices, the dealer found it difficult to make profit from the sale of the remaining part of the land if the ratio of the perimeter of the remaining land to the perimeter of the original land is 3:8. Okay, so let me create some space over here. What is the ratio of the perimeter of the remaining land first? Remaining land perimeter is nothing but 2 times sum of the adjacent sides, length and breadth, right? 2 times sum of 2B minus A and A minus B plus A minus B. Minus A plus A cancelled, right? 2B minus B is plus B. So numerator is nothing but 2B. And what about the denominator? That's nothing but the perimeter of the original land. Original land was, breadth was B, length was A, 2 times A plus B, right? We can write it as it is, 2 times A plus B over here. 2 and 2 are cancelled. B by A plus B is nothing but 3 by 8. 3 by 8. Now, how do we proceed over here? Everything is in relative terms. We can assume some values, right? Do I need to solve for this and find the ratio and all of that? Look at it this way. If B is 3, right? If B is going to be 3, then A plus B is 8. So A should be 5. That's the ratio of A and B. If B is 3, if A plus B becomes 8, then A has to be 5. A is to B is 5 is to 3. That's it. If A is to B is 5 is to 3, we can take actual values as A is 5 and B is 3. what is the area of square 1? B square. 3 into 3, 9 is the 9 square feet, right? We can say. Next, what would be the area of the smaller square over here? What is A minus B going to be? 5 minus 3, which is going to be 2. 2 into 2 is going to give me 4 square feet. What is going to be the area of this rectangle? You don't need to find 2B minus A and A minus B. The simple thing for you to do is A into B, 5 3s are 15 square feet totally. And in the 15, 9 and 4 are taken up. 13 square feet is done. We are left over with 2 square feet. Right? That's it. So what is the question over here? I need to make an overall profit of 10%. How much should I sell the remaining part of the land for? So overall, I have 15 square feet at 1000 rupees per square feet. Alright. So total cost price is going to be 15 into 1000 per square feet, right? It's 15 square feet totally at 1000 rupees per square feet. Now, what is the selling price over here? I need an overall profit of 10%. 10% of 15,000 is 1,500. If I add, I'm getting 16,500. That is how much I should totally get overall selling price. Now, 9 square feet have been sold at what price? Initial one was selling at 1,200 rupees. 9 into 1,200 is going to come to 10,800 rupees. 10,800 has been the first plot. 4 square feet was sold for 1,150 per square feet. 4 into 1150 is 4,600. Alright, 4,600. Now 10,800 and 14,600 adds up to how much totally? That's going to be 14,000 and 15,400. Now 15,400 plus something should give me 16,500. 15,400, I'm not writing it down, plus something is 16,500, and that's 1,100, right? So this should be totally sold for 1,100 rupees. How much? 2 square feet is selling for 1,100. If 2 square feet is selling at 1,100, 1,100 by 2 is the rupees per square feet. 1,100 by 2 is nothing but 550 rupees per square feet. Option 2 is the answer here. On to question 124. The maximum retail price of a product is 55% above its manufacturing cost. Okay. The product is sold through a retailer who earns 23% profit on his purchase price. Fine. What is the profit percentage expressed in the nearest integer? You might have to approximate for the manufacturer. Okay. Not for the retailer who sells this product to the retailer. The retailer is giving a 10% discount on MRP. So let the CP of manufacturer be, assume a value, right? 100. What is the MRP then? MRP is nothing but 55% above this. 55% of this is 55. 55 more than this is 155. The discount given over here, all right, minus the discount, and that is coming to 10% of this, right, which is 15.5. Once you give that discount, if you subtract 15.5, you're going to be getting 139.5, right? So that over here is going to be the selling price of retailer. If selling price of retailer is 139.5, then what is the cost price of retailer? Cost price of retailer is nothing but 139.5 divided by 1 plus profit percent, right? The profit earned by the retailer, and that is given to us as 23%. So this is nothing but 139.5 by 1.23. Now multiply and divide by 100, you're going to get 13,950 by 123. What is this approximately coming to? 123s are 123, remainder is 16, 165, one more 123. 165 minus 123 is coming to 42, 420. 420, 3 times this is 369, 420. If you subtract 369, you're going to be left with 51. 113, 51 by 123 might be, I think it's correct. Yeah. This is basically in rupees, right? Sorry, in rupees terms. Yeah. So now the question is simple. the cost price for the retailer is the same as selling price of the manufacturer, right? Because manufacturer is selling it to the retailer is buying from here. Selling price of manufacturer is same as cost price of retailer. If that is 113, 51 by 23, the cost price was 100. What was the profit? Profit of manufacturer is nothing but the difference of these two, which is 1351 by 123, right, in rupees. Now, given that the cost price we have taken is 100, the profit percentage is nothing but 1351 by 123 percentage, because it's taken as 100 rupees. I don't need to do this divided by this into 100% and get 100 cancelled. So the profit percentage is simply, I can add a percentage symbol and get rid of this rupee symbol over here. 1351 by 123 is closest to 13%. In fact, this was not even required over here, right? Roughly 113 you can say, and mark it and keep going. So Rani bought more apples than oranges. She sells apples at 23 a piece and makes 15 rupees profit, right? Now these are the places where we have to be a little quick, right? I'm not going to be discussing the entire lesson per se, but by now you should have an idea. 15% converted to a fraction, 3 by 20, right? 15% is 15 by 100, which is 3 by 20. If 3 by 20 is the profit, and profit is always written as a percentage of the cost price, this 3 by 20 ratio can simply be written as P by CP, profit as a percentage of cost price. In other words, it means if cost price is 20 rupees, then the profit is 3 rupees. Then what would the selling price be? The selling price over here would be sum of these two, which is selling price is 23 rupees, and that is exactly what is given, right? So which means if he is selling apples at 23 a piece and making 15% profit, all that it means is cost price is 20 and profit is 3 in this. Yeah. So likewise, let's look at the next one. For oranges, 10 a piece, and you're making 25% profit. Now 25% profit is nothing but 1 by 4, right? 1 by 4 over here is nothing but P by CP. What will the selling price be? Selling price is going to be 1 plus 4, 5 rupees. But if actual selling price is 10, and not 5, it's double of this, then cost price will be double of it and profit will be double of it, right? Start writing it this way. All of you, just try it a few times and you will get a hang of this. Don't waste time using variables. Let x be the cost price, x into 1 plus 1 by 4 equals 10, and find it out and all of that. It's a waste of time, right? You've got to be quick in these exams. Now, what do we do over here? How do we solve this question? What is given over here? If she gets 653 after selling all the apples and oranges, find a profit percentage. Now, 653 is the selling price, right? So what is the overall scenario? I have 23 a piece for apples, but I don't know how many apples. 23A plus how many oranges? I will use B as the selling price of, as the number of oranges, but 10 a piece. 10 is the selling price of an orange, but 10B. And the first sentence, I was told that A is going to be greater than B. The quantity of apples is more than oranges. Now 23A plus 10B is what I'm getting, right, which is 653. Now A and B, right, I have one equation, two variables, but I know quantity is going to be an integer over here, right? I can't say half an apple was sold. That's understood. That's the only way to solve. So the quantity over here is going to be an integer, right? That is A and B. How do you go about doing this? We've seen this in the linear equations lesson, right? Integer solutions, two variables, one equation, right? Tell me the smallest value which will give me a 10 multiple. What is the smallest value for A, which will give me a 10 multiple here? By observation, 3 and 3. If I put A as 1, then 23, you take it there, you're getting 630. 630 by 10 is 63, right? So once again, if I put A as 1, 23, take it there, 630 by 10, 63, B is 63. Once you find the first set of values, we've again seen in that integer solutions of linear equations lesson at mockat.com, what do? A, if sum of two things is a constant, then A will increase with B's coefficient, to 11. 63 will reduce with A's coefficient to 63 minus 23 is 40, right? Plus 10 over here. Now try out 11 and a 40, substitute over here. 11 into 23 is 253. 40 you substitute 400, it'll add up to 653 perfectly. You don't need to waste time in the exam. You can do it right now to check if you want. Once again, the next set of values, 11 plus 10 is coming to 21, 40 minus 23 is coming to 17. Next set of values, 21 plus 10 is 31, 17 minus 23 is going to minus 6. I don't want negative values. I can't say minus 6 kgs of oranges were sold. What is my condition over here? A is greater than B. Now, do I have A greater than B here? No. Do I have A greater than B here? No. I have A greater than B only over here. So I can say totally 21 kgs of apples and 17 kgs of oranges were sold. Now the question asked is, what is the profit percentage? Profit is the percentage of the cost price always. So 21 kgs of, so profit over here is nothing but 21 kgs of apples at profit of 3 per kg plus 17 into 2 per kg, right, for oranges, and that's coming to 63 plus a 34, which is a 97. If profit over here is 97, profit is a percentage of cost price. What is the CP? My selling price is known as 653. 653 minus 97 is coming to 556. Right? Subtract 100, add back 3. 556 rupees. Now, what is the profit percentage over here? How do you do this? A little quickly. Let's say you have no calculator again. Look at this, 97 by 556. Now, I want to make adjustments so that I bring this close to 500. What should I subtract? If I subtract 10% of 556, subtract 10% over here of 556, I have to subtract 10% of 97 also for the equation to remain. What is 10% of 556? 55.6. What is 10% of 97? 9.7. 556 minus 55.6, very close to 500. Approximately. Options are quite far apart. 97 minus 9.7 is 87 plus this thing is 87.3. You might feel the options are close, but in reality they're quite far apart, right? You will see that now. How do I want to divide by another 5? No, let me multiply with 2. 2 and 2 over here. What am I getting? Denominator is 1000 and numerator is going to be 87 into 2 is going to give us 160 and a 14, 174, 174.6. If I want to get rid of a 0, I have to move the decimal point over here. 17.46 by 100 is 17.46 percentage. That's it. 17.46 percentage approximately. What is the closest over here? 17.4. That's it. 17.5 is not there. You need to understand we have approximated here. That's the reason. But we're pretty close over here. The options are quite far apart. Even 0.5%, 0.6% difference are huge in this context. Guys, if you like this video, do hit the like button and do subscribe to this channel in case you haven't already. And do visit mockat.com and get access to a lot of free resources. Take up the daily quizzes, which are free every single day. Take up the free mock test. If you want to reach out to us, you can just call us up and let us know, and we'll look to connect with you as well. Right? So you all the best. Continue watching the series.